everyone, it's Kathy and welcome back here in my craft room and here on my YouTube channel. I'm so glad you decided to join me today, and I've got a couple of announcements that I wanted to make. One is you only have until the 28th of this month, which is coming fast. Today is the 23rd, so that gives you about 5 more days that to place your celebration order. So some of the items, from what I gather, I have not checked each one of them, but I believe the Dainty Flowers paper is already gone. There's some other items that have already sold out. Now, you also have the opportunity for the other items that they have added, and I don't have that flyer right here in front of me, but it is on my blog, so if you want to go and take a look at that, they were the add-ons for the celebration, and that is on my blog. Today we're not working with anything out of celebration, and the reason I'm doing that is I have shown y'all just about everything in the celebration catalog, and I want to concentrate on some items out of this along with some of our regular items from our annual catalog. So what we're going to do today is I chose this gorgeous paper from the Fancy Flora, and this is the Fancy Flora 6x6 paper pad, and it is absolutely stunning. This is the paper we're going to be working with today. Isn't that beautiful? Such a rich, beautiful color, and you're going to see how I'm going to pull in some other colors to make that really work. But this pack of paper is absolutely gorgeous, and I mean, look at these colors. And the front is just as pretty as the back. There's no paper in this pack that's not just absolutely luscious. I love, love, love it, and I have used out of it a couple of times. I've got some of it cut up, as you can see, and it's a pack that I find when I want something that will go with most anything, this is a pack that I go to. Also, we're going to be using a couple of sets of dies, and if you look over on page 35 in your annual catalog, the ones that the set that's around the bin, that's such a pretty set. We're going to be using the dies. The dies are a little bit different than the stamp set, and here's what they look like. And I'm going to be using some of these leaves and this flower, and probably the center for the flower. So that's what I have in mind, but we're going to play it by ear. You know I always do. So let me go ahead and pull that off. We'll save these to use for our die cutting. Those are my little post-it flags. Y'all know I love those things. So let's get that in there. And the first thing I want to do is show you our card base is a half a sheet. So it is 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4. 8.5, 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4. So it's going to give us a landscape card. Now this is a fun fold card, and I got a sample here, or a prototype that I did, and this is what the card looks like. And when you open it, it opens like this. Isn't that pretty? So this piece right here kind of free floats back and forth like that, and of course if you open it like this, it's going to look like that. But the purpose of this card is to pull it from that piece right there, and it is a beautiful card, both laying this way and open. And as you can see, if you open it, it makes a beautiful card to sit up on a mantle. So we're going to call this one mantle worthy. I love it. I think it's so cute, and I had so much fun making it. It looks very complex, but I promise you it is not as complex as it seems. I do need to grab another piece of Starry Sky because I forgot about my mechanism, and that's important. So I'm going to grab another scrap if I can find one big enough. I may have to cut a piece. Yeah, we're going to have to grab a piece of Starry Sky. So let me grab a piece right here. That's such a rich, beautiful color. I love it. And we get to enjoy these for another year because they were our new in colors this past year when the new catalog came out. So we get to keep those for another year, which is great. So this piece needs to be 6 by 4.5, and we're going to do 2 score marks in it. So your card base, and then You know, if I had cut this card base out of a sheet, I would have had enough to do that, but I already had this card base in my stash. So we're going to bring this over to 6 inches, give it a slice, 4.5. So 4.5 would be right there, and slice. And then we're going to turn it on that 6-inch side. So this is our 6-inch side. We're going to score this at 2. Get that cut blade out of your way so you don't use it. Score it at 2, and then slide it down and score it at 4. So simple score lines, 2 inches and 4 inches. So that gives you this mechanism. See our score lines right there? So lay that over to the side. The next thing you're going to need is, for this one I chose the Fresh Freesia because look how well it blends with this paper. I love this paper. I think it's so pretty. And the Starry Sky, you can see just tads of it in there, just enough that I think it's going to be beautiful on this card. Alright, so what we need now is we need 2 pieces of the Fresh Freesia, and this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And both of them are the same. So lay those to the side. Now we need to cut our Designer Series paper. And these need to be cut at 3 3/4 by 5. I think I'm going to get maybe there, by 5 inches. And you're going to need 2 of these as well. So there's one. Save your scraps because we're going to use those for something else. Okay, again, decide which way I want this to go. Okay, we're going to cut it at 4. I want more of this piece on my piece than the other side, so I'm cutting it at 3 3/4 by 5. And there are our 2 mats to go on our Fresh Freesia. Now these 2 pieces that you have left over, we're going to cut those down, and they need to be 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. So let me get my measurements. I got my measurements scribbled. Y'all see that? That's my measurements. Because I was really doing this kind of flying by the seat of my pants, I wanted to make sure that I wrote down everything as I did it. So we're going to need 2 pieces of the DSP at 1 3/4. So 1 3/4 would be right there. I'm going to turn it around so I can get some of that blue on there. 1 3/4. By 4 1/4. And then we're going to do the same thing with this other strip. We are going to cut it 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, and then we need another piece of Fresh Freesia cut the same way. This will all make sense once we start putting the card together. So just bear with me. So let's see, that is okay. We can get it off of that. So 1 3/4 by 4 1/4. Just like that. So I think all of our pieces are cut now, except we are going to be doing some die cutting. So let's bring our pieces over, and all of this will make sense as we go, I promise. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our designer series paper and our fresh freesia, or whatever color you choose. Now you can change these papers up and use what you have, but we're going to glue this down on here and on here. So I'm going to use my liquid glue for this. Look at the back of that. It's equally beautiful. This would be beautiful with the pale papaya. But I chose this because I love the softness of these colors. So this is what we're going to do. I think I might use my Stampin' Seal. I think I might be almost out, so I might have to change this in midstream. So I'm just going to put a little piece around the edges. It's real important not to get any sticky in the middle of this because we're going to be die cutting. So I am going to put this one like so. So I'm looking at my edges. Let's do it this way. Sometimes when I put them down this way, I have a little bit better chance of getting my borders nice and straight. Just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. The wind is blowing so hard here today, but it's supposed to be in the 80s. Can you believe that? I'll probably need my air conditioning before the day's out. I can't believe it. So, crazy weather we're having. Now see, I am out of my Stampin' Seal. Once it gets to that red, it's done. So I just had enough to do this. So I'm going to put this down on here just like I did the other one. And I'm going to kind of center up everything right there. Give it a good press. And now that piece is done. While we're gluing our pieces on, I'm going to go ahead and bring this mechanism back over. And what you're going to want to do is fold it and fold it. And we're going to get our bone folder out because we're going to definitely crease this down. So I'm going to crease this side, and I'm also going to bend it in both directions because this is going to be your mechanism, and you want to break those fibers down in that paper, making sure that you're getting everything nice and creased, just like that. Okay, so now that you have it, you should have a mountain and a valley, just like that. So on the piece where our valley's at, we're going to put this fresh freesia. Now, you're going to want to stamp on this. So if you want to stamp before you get started, let's find a sentiment. Bella, 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 Bella. She's over here snoring up a storm, y'all. Let me decide what stamp set I want to use for this, and I'll be right back. Alright, I found this stamp set, Inspired Thoughts, and this is a beautiful, very useful sentiment stamp set. And it has a lot of just words on it that are really good words to use inside and outside of your card. This is going to be on the inside. You make a difference every day. That's the one I want to put on here. So I'm going to grab a stamp block. We're going to do our stamping in Starry Sky ink. So here's my Starry Sky, and I have a stamp block, so I'm going to ink this up, and I'm tapping very gently. If you get ink around the outside of your stamp, you're pressing too hard on your stamp. You only want to ink up the stamp itself. So that's my tip for the day. So once I get it inked up, I'm going to bring over a scrap piece of paper and just stamp. Oh, beautiful. So let's go in and tap, tap, tap really gently, especially if it's a juicy ink pad, and these are juicy. Okay, and then stamp. Love it. Alright, we're going to set our ink pad over here because we'll be using that again shortly. I am going to grab out my Stampin' Scrub. Y'all know I love my Stampin' Scrub. It's my favorite tool. I'm going to put a little bit of Stampin' Mist right here in the center. Only a couple squirts. You buy a bottle of that and it will last you forever. It just, you need a little bit, and you can reactivate it with just some water. So, and this really cleans your stamps because it gets all up inside those little nooks and crannies and gets that ink out. Love that tool. That's something I pull out every time that I craft. So now we're ready to go ahead and put this piece on our mechanism. So again, I think this time I'm just going to use liquid glue because I need to change this. They're not hard to change. You just lift it out. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and do it because I may need it somewhere else along the card. And I have a new one right here. They come, your refills come in these little sealed up bags like this, and when you get it, you don't replace this part of your applicator. You just replace the cartridge. I like to call them a Stampin' Seal cartridge. So it comes like that, and you just remember to drop it in just like you took it out. So you've got two spools for it to fit on, here and here. So just drop that down onto the spool. Sometimes it's easier if you turn it over and you can see exactly where you're putting it. And then you're going to pop the cover back on it. A little snap, and it's on. And now we should be ready to go, and it's ready. That's simple, and it's so easy to use. This stuff is, I mean, it's the bomb. So I'm going to go ahead and use this because it's quick, it's easy, and I don't have to worry about a pen and my glue. So here we go. We're going to put this down right about here, setting those margins nice. Then we're going to take these two pieces of designer series paper that we cut, and they're going to go on these panels. So you're going to have designer series paper on the two to the right, and the one to the left is going to be the one with the solid with your sentiment. So I'm going to lay this down right about here. And let's do the same thing for this one. And now we'll set this one down, evening it up. Just like that. And now our panel is ready. So we are ready now to do some die cutting. So let's bring our card base back. And this is lifted a little bit right here. So I'm going to come in and just put a little bit more Stampin' Seal right there. Okay, that was that piece that I pulled up. So let's decide which one we want on the outside. I think I want this one on the outside. I don't know. I love them both. Maybe we'll do that one on the outside. It doesn't matter which one you use. But let's set this one to the side for a moment. And this piece right here, we're going to do die cutting. But we need to die cut through all of these pieces. So let's go ahead and put this on. I'm going to use glue this time. But again, you only want glue on your outside edges. So I'm going to be very careful just to put glue right around my edges. Just like that. And now let's put this down on our front. Give it a good press. I like to even go back over it with my bone folder, just to make sure everything's adhered really well. And now this is where our die cutting comes in. We are going to put these two dies together, And we're going to cut a window out of the middle of this. Now you can use squares, you can use rectangles, you could use circles, whatever, ovals, whatever dies you have that you want to use. So again, I'm just going to eyeball it. I think it's going to be fine to... The one thing I am seeing is that my dies are not even. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that one out and I'm going to get this one lined up where I want it. And glue that down and down, and now we're going to take this one and center it up in the middle, and you want to make sure you got the same amount all the way around. Once you get that where you want it, then you just want to put these over to cover it. And I got one more over here. We're going to put right here on this side. And now we're ready to run this through our die cut machine. Now, I will be perfectly honest. We're cutting through designer series paper and 2 pieces of cardstock. So it is going to be a difficult cut. I don't care how you do it. This is going to be a difficult cut. Again, at a teeny bit of an angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through a couple of times. And it's bending my cardstock over here on the corner, but we're going to iron that back out. Hopefully that cut through. And I don't think it did. Now we're going to turn it. Still does not look like it went all the way through. So we're going to take this off very carefully. Now I will tell you that I've got a little bit of sticky on my cardstock, but if you have one of the little gum erasers, the Xyron eraser, we can clean that up with no problem. So we're going to peel that up, and peel that up, and let's see what we got cut out of this. Now it looks like we cut pretty good with this and this. We got our pieces cut there. The only piece that did not come out is that bottom piece. There's still a little bit of resistance. So this is where, if you have a little tool like this, a little blade knife, I love this little tool because it works so well for things like this. Just come in and give it a little help. You can do it with your paper snips, but I find using this tool a little bit handier for my liking, because I can get right up to the edge and cut and cut. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And let's see what we have now. Very good. Now I'm going to need another piece like this. This one got a little ratty going through the machine so many times. So I am going to use that same large die cut, and I'm going to cut another piece of Starry Sky. So that's going to be a very simple little thing to do. We're just going to put it on here like this. I'm actually going to use my scissors and cut this piece off like that. And we're just going to lay that down. I am going to angle it this time. Anytime you can angle a straight edge, it's so much better for your machine and everything involved. So let's lay this plate back over it. I'm going to bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine up one more time. I wish I could have a place to keep this on my desk, but I just don't. I haven't figured out a way to make room where I could leave this up here to die cut. So I have to sit it to the side, but you know what? It's okay. See how much easier it goes through when you're not going in a flat edge? if you're taking it in an angle, it's so much better. All right, I think we are done with that. So let's go ahead and pull out our piece and look how nice that cut. So I'm gonna keep that little frame because I might be able to use that with something else. So now let's put my plates back where they belong, and let's pull up all of our pieces that we need. I'm gonna lay my die over here along with this one. Actually, I'm gonna put them back over here with the sleeve, and I'll know where they're at. And here where the machine crunched up my paper a little bit, let's just iron that out. Turn it over and iron it. And we are going to be putting cardstock over top of this, so it's not going to be seen from inside. Remember that other piece of the Fresh Freesia and the Designer Series paper? This is going to go in right here. So I'm going to use some liquid glue. Just like that, and then let's glue this in right about there. Give it a good press. Now we're ready to work on our mechanism. Now our mechanism, we're going to want to decorate it a little bit. So we are going to let's stamp a thank you right here. Much better. And then we're going to take that small die. Once you get that small die, oh, that's the big one. That's not the one I wanted. Here we go. Then we can center this over top of this, just where you want it, and we'll cut it out. So again, I'm going to put a little bit of tape on there to hold that. We're going to lay this piece over here. Let me clean my stamp really quick. And I'm going to clean up some of the stuff off of my desk and get this cut out, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and I got my piece cut, and it's ready now to adhere to this piece. So we're just going to use liquid glue, and we're going to glue that to the Fresh Freesia to the Starry Sky. And we're going to decorate this piece. It's not going to look quite so naked when we finish with our decorating. So we're going to put some flowers and some leaves that we're going to die cut. And this piece will go on here. In just a minute, and I'll show you exactly how we're going to do that. It makes it very simple, very easy. When you line up your cardstock on this side and get this glued in, and the only thing you have to worry about here is making sure it's to the edge and that its top and bottom is right there. Then this piece is going to glue in right over top of that, just like that. And that is basically our card. Now I still feel a little bit of my adhesive right there, but that's the only place I'm feeling it, and I was able to roll that off with my fingers. A lot of times that will come right off, so you know, if you use any type of adhesive to hold your piece in place when you're die cutting, like I said, if you have one of those Xyron erasers, it works beautifully. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put glue on the back piece of this. So the back side of your piece that you put the solid and you stamped on. So again, I'm going to use liquid glue. Just like that. Then I'm going to turn that piece over, and all I'm doing is I'm looking top to bottom, and I want to make sure that this is all the way over to that edge. Just like that. So once you got that in there and you're nice and straight, like I said, give it a good press, make sure it's adhered. Now we're going to close that down, and we're going to close our front of our card. And now the only place we need adhesive is right here on this area right there, and that's where this piece is going to glue down. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to run glue all along there, just like that. I'm going to be pretty generous in my glue, but I don't want a lot of oozing, so I want to be careful. Now we're going to take this piece and just set it in. Just like that. And then we can open it, give it a good press, and this is going to be our mechanism. So now when you open this card, it's going to open like that. But now the magic's happening with our decorating. Remember this one, how I had the flowers on it? We're going to do something similar but a little different with this one. Remember the Round the Bend die set? It's got that beautiful flower. I already laid it out right here, and it's got this little centerpiece that goes in it. So I'm going to take those out, and and the leaf, I had laid those both out. So those are the pieces that I chose. I might even cut this little leaf. And we got a couple of these different ones, so let's cut a couple of those. Now what I'm going to do is I want to use or play off of some of the like pool party greens that's in here. It's a very pale, but looking at my swatch, and I have this swatch of cardstocks, I'm going to go in and I'm going to look and see if pool party's not quite it. It looks more like a balmy blue. We're going to do our leaves out of balmy blue. I think that will really play into those and make it very pretty. It's our card. We can have blue leaves if we want to, right? Exactly. So I'm going to grab a scrap, and I don't need a big one, just a small scrap of balmy blue for my leaves. And I'm going to die cut those out. And then I need scraps of, I'm going to use Orchid Oasis, Starry Sky, and maybe some more balmy blue. I think we might only be able to get two flowers out of that. So maybe the Starry Sky, and let's see, am I seeing any Highland Heather in there? I don't, but I think it will work. So we're going to do a Starry Sky and a Highland Heather. So you see how beneficial it is to have a swatch of these, of all the different cardstocks. especially if you have all the cardstocks. And you know what I do is, if you don't have all of the cardstocks, the best way to do this is every time you buy a pack, cut you off a 3x3 and make a label and put on it. And it doesn't have to be a label like this. You can use one of the labelers and just put the what color it is and the number. That always is so handy to have. All right, so we're going to go in with Starry Sky. And you know, I got some Starry Sky already over here, so we're good to go with that. And we need some Highland Heather. And there's a scrap of Highland Heather. You can see I had cut out of that, but I just stuck it back in my scrap bin because I knew I had plenty to use over here. And look, we can get the flower from right here, and we're still saving that other piece of Highland Heather. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to do it on this side. And I'm going to bring over my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine one more time. I'm not going to adjust my camera this time. I'm just going to do this really quick die cutting. So I'm going to take my flowers. I don't need to take these down this time because I'm not trying to get them any particular certain way. I'm just wanting to get them on here and die cut. So let's do it like that. And I'm going to cut one of the centers out. And let's put this here. We're going to put a cover plate over it. And crank everything through. I'm not going to go too far with the die cut machine because we're going to do some more. We're going to cut some more flowers. But I think these leaves are going to be gorgeous. And let's take the die off of this one. And let's cut a piece of the Starry Sky. Lay this over to the side. I'm wondering if I want to do the Fresh Freesia. Remember, we messed that little piece up. So maybe we'll do... We had some smaller flowers. Let's cut a couple of these little small flowers. We can always throw those in. See what they look like. So let's go ahead and run that through. Like I said, I knew we weren't done. We're going to do a little bit more die cutting. So again, I'm going to bring my machine up. And let's run that through. And let's see what we got here. All those little flowers are cute. I think they'll make a good little addition to what we're doing here. Alright, I need one more center. I got a blue one. Maybe we'll do another blue. Let's go ahead and pull these die cuts out of this piece of blue. I'm going to lay these back over here on my folder so that I don't lose them. Love the detail that these are putting in there. And I'm going to put that right there. Let's pick up these little ones. Oh, they're so cute. They actually have little holes in them. That's so cute. And we're going to die cut one more time that one little circle for the center of the flowers. So cute. You know what? I don't want the balmy blue. I want the Starry Sky. Hey, I'm a woman and I'm entitled to change my mind, right? Exactly. So let's put this up here and run it through. And now we should be done with our machine. We'll see. We hope so. And there is our center for our other flower. So, good job. Put that die over there. That's a tiny one that are easy to lose. So, like I said, hang tight. I got glue dots or something on my cover plate. I'm gonna have to clean those off after the video. So those definitely need cleaning. Now let's bring our card back over. We need to decide exactly where we want our flowers and our greenery to land. So I want to put, let's open the card. I want to put, let's do the centers to our flowers first. I'm going to put one right here, and I think I want to pop that up on a mini dimensional. So I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to grab one of my little minis. I'm going to put it right on the back of that piece and take the backer off. And then I am going to use my putty end, if I can. To get that set in right about, oop, you know what? I want this one on this one. What was I thinking? Okay. And then we've got this one. And we're going to put a glue dot on the back of this one. Not a glue dot, I'm sorry. A Stampin' Dimensional. The minis work great for little items like this. Take that backer off. And let's sit that down right there in the middle of that one. That worked good. All right. Get my Take Your Pick tool back together. Now let's see where we're at. We are going to put one flower here and one right there. And then we're going to figure out how we're going to stick our greeneries around it. So I'm going to pop these up as well. And the back of these will actually take a regular size dimensional. So we'll just put one dimensional in the middle of each of the flowers. This will also give us room to tuck our little leaves underneath. So let's put this one right here. And this one here. And then we can come in with our leaves like this. Let's put this one up here. And maybe this one down here. And then we got this other one that's going to live right there. Oh, that's pretty. We still have those little flowers. I don't think we're going to use them though. I don't think we need them. So I'm going to take some liquid glue and I'm going to run it on the back side of these leaves and stems. And then I'm going to tuck that in about like that. Same thing with this one. And tuck that one right behind there, something like, get it down enough so it's not covering up your sentiment. And then this little bitty one's going to go down to the bottom. Little glue right here. And let's stick him right about there. Give it a little press and close our card. And there is your beautiful center flip out card. Isn't that gorgeous? I love the way that turned out. And I also got these little extra die cuts that I can use for something else. I don't really see the need for them on this card. I don't know what I was thinking when I cut them, but they would not show up against the Fresh Freesia. And I think this is beautiful just the way it is. I don't know if y'all are loving this, but I think it turned out gorgeous. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you like this card. It's really not hard. You just follow the directions, and I'll have all the measurements and even a diagram showing you how to cut this card and how to put it together on my blog. So thanks so much for tuning in again today while we made this very pretty card. And I think if you press on it a little bit right about here, that works. Those flowers will actually hold that together where it will lay. Isn't that gorgeous? Love it, love it, love it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. God bless and keep you. And if you like any of the products that you saw me use here today, please check out my PDF tutorial. All the order numbers along with the link to my store will be listed in that PDF. You can also access the store from my blog, usually on every post at the very top, right up under my little description where I do my little blogging about what the blog is about. I will link my store so you can click there and go. But go grab that PDF first, and then once you get it, you can get the order numbers if you have fallen in love with the paper, the dies, the stamp set, whatever. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. Until we craft again, bye-bye.